Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Startup Sense podcast. This is your host, Jonah Lupton. We have another amazing episode for you today. I'm actually doing this podcast from my hotel room, so hopefully the audio quality is up to par with what we usually do. Today's guest is Antoine Finkelstein. I think I got that correct. He is the co founder of a company called Hunter. Their website is hunter.io. So another startup using that .io domain name that seems to be getting more and more popular these days. I actually came across Hunter when I was looking to find the email addresses for some of my podcast guests or people that I was hoping to interview, and I didn't want to have to send emails to support at or info at or marketing at. I wanted to be able to get to the founder directly. And some of these busy founders and CEOs and executives don't tend to make their email address names very public. So Hunter has been extremely valuable to me. They have their website, they have Chrome extensions, and then they even have a plugin for LinkedIn, which is pretty cool. I've started using that in the last few days. So let's welcome Antoine to the show. Antoine, how are you, man?
I'm great. How are you, Jonah?
I'm doing good. So a couple things I skipped over that I'll just mention real quick is you guys are currently bootstrapped, meaning you've raised no outside funding, and you are currently a team of 5 people, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
So tell us more about Hunter. What are you guys working on? What are you guys doing over there?
Okay, so you kind of described it a bit, but in short, Hunter is a lead generation service. And what we're really focused on is crawling the web, extracting company and personal data on the web, and then making it available to our users in the most efficient and simple way possible. So it can be on our website, on the Chrome extension that you mentioned, but we also have an API, a Google Sheet extension. And so we try to make it as simple as possible to use this data.
And where are you guys getting all this data from?
So our main focus, and we only work on that, is we only get our data from the web. So we have built various tools to go online, to go on millions of websites, and to find the company data on those websites, and then aggregate it and analyze it in our database. So
Okay.
we don't have any external provider that helps us build this database.
And when did you guys start working on this? It looks like it was about 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. So we launched in March, about 2 years ago, and since then we've been completely focused just on this single product.
And you guys were working on some other stuff prior to this, right?
Yeah, exactly. So before we were just 2 in the company. So my co-founder and I, we were trying the different business ideas. As you mentioned, we didn't raise any capital, so it was really important for us to find something that could really be profitable quickly and that we could really do for a living. And it ended up being Hunter after a few iterations.
I mean, the market for this is huge because essentially any single person in the world that works in some sort of a sales position or sales capacity needs to find email addresses so they can contact potential clients, customers, etc. I mean, I spent 10 years in the investment world. I was constantly looking for people's email addresses, so I could email executives and CEOs and, referral sources. I mean, the list goes on. And now I'm building a company that goes after the hotel industry. So I'm trying to find executives from the hotel industry, their email addresses. So, I mean, this is a huge, huge opportunity. So how much traction have you guys been able to generate thus far, given that it's a huge market opportunity?
Yeah, so you're completely right. It's a huge market, and we're not obviously alone. And there are tons of companies, and actually also companies that have been working on this specific market for years now. Since we launched the service, we've been able to grow our user base constantly. So we have both free users and paying users. We have around, I would say, 100,000 monthly active users on the service. And so it has been growing. We're still growing every month, and for now everything is really going great.
What percentage of your free users end up converting into paid users? Are you able to share that number or give us an approximate number?
Yeah, I can. So I don't have exactly the number in mind, but it's really in the standard, I would say, of the industry. So it would be between, I'm guessing, 1 and 2.5%.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, pretty low, but that's expected.
Yeah, that's kind of expected, exactly. As long as you are aware that you're going to get this number, it's fine.
Yeah, because even one of the most transparent SaaS companies out there, Buffer, I think they're, even though they have millions and millions of users, I'm guessing that their paid user numbers are probably somewhere down in the low single digits as well. So certainly expected, but you can still build a big company that way. So how are you guys finding your users? Whether they're free, because I assume that's the first hurdle is at least get them using the service, and then you can convert them later. So how do you guys find your free users?
Well, exactly. Well, it's really tied to the fact that we have a freemium model, and so it's having this many free users can be an issue. But if it's really part of your acquisition mechanism, then it can be completely fine. And in our case, that's really what we're trying to do. So we really try to make the service as simple as possible for our users. This way, they can really sign up to the service, use it for free for a while, and as soon as they really start using it and need more data, then they can just move to a paying plan where they can get more requests per month.
Okay. So I mean, so you guys are doing some or none in terms of paid marketing?
We don't do any paid marketing. We really only focus on building the product and making it as good as possible. So we don't have any paid marketing, but we don't have any sales people either. We only do the product and the support for the product.
Now, have you guys done stuff like Product Hunt or Beta List? Any way to leverage those services to get new users?
Yeah. So at first, it really helped. So we've only done Product Hunt, and actually, when we launched the service, we only shared it to a few people, and someone decided to directly put it on Product Hunt. So it was kind of unexpected. It really got us our first users, but from this point and after, it was only I would say organic growth. So just people sharing to friends the service, and it really comes from the freemium pricing, because
Right.
since you only pay because of the depending on the number of requests that you do, and it's 150 requests that you get for free every month. For a lot of users, it's kind of a lot, and they are not able to reach the point where they would pay. So they are really they're completely okay with sharing this to their friends, because they don't feel like they are asking their friends to pay for a service. So that has really been the best way for us to grow.
Right. Your freemium plan is very generous. The numbers that someone has to hit in order to start paying is pretty high. Would you guys consider dropping that maybe in order to have a higher conversion to paid accounts?
Yeah, I would lie if I'd say that it's not an ongoing discussion with my co-founder. It's so we have already dropped the number of free requests, and we've made the pricing higher a few times already. But the thing to consider is that the marginal cost for your free user is really almost zero, and giving a free additional request is not going to be an issue. We're just going maybe to lose a few percentage of conversion. And so it's not really a big issue if we lose those few customers. And what we are really focused on is making sure that as many people as possible hear about our service. And maybe to kind of expand on that, something that we really have in mind always, and that's I always try to remind me of this idea, is that I really prefer that someone uses our service for free instead of this person using another service. So even if we have to have tons of free users, I think it's always the best approach, because this way they know of our service, and if they need one day to do more, then they can just subscribe and finally pay us.
So the two features that I mentioned in the introduction that I like using the most are the Chrome extension, because I can be on a website, doing some research on a company that I may or may not want to have on the podcast, or go after in my other business, and I can just click on that little, the hunter icon in my extension bar, click on that. Or if I'm LinkedIn and I'm doing searches for prospects, once again, you guys have that little hunter icon in there underneath the message button or the connect button. I can click on that and I can add, a contact to a list that I can save and then add, upload to my CRM or an Excel spreadsheet. So how important are those two features for you guys? Like in terms of users, are users using those two features the most?
Not the most. I would say that about 1/3 of our users are using the Chrome extension as a way to access our data. So the Chrome extension is both the button on any website and also the button on LinkedIn. But we try to make our service usable on multiple platforms. So it can be obviously the Chrome extension, our website. We have multiple services on our website. We have an API. And in the end, it's always the same data set, but we really want to make sure that we are not really dependent on one simple source. This way, if something happens, we can always survive and continue doing the company.
This is Jonah Lupton, founder of Joule and host of the Startup Sense podcast. At Joule, we help entrepreneurs and startup founders build, launch, and grow their companies by providing superior technology, marketing, and consulting services. We help clients of all sizes, budgets, and industries. We put our clients in the best position to raise capital, grow revenues, hire employees, and maximize their profits. For more information or to set up a free consultation with our team, please visit our website at joule.net. That's JOOL.net. Now, have you guys started reaching out to investors? And I mean, do you have any sort of hopes of doing some fundraising for this company?
So we are not reaching out, but I know that they are heavily reaching out to us. We don't plan on raising funds. And at first, it was because obviously we were just starting and we were still students. Obviously, it wasn't really great for investors to be confident in our future. But right now, even if we're profitable, we kind of like how we are doing things, and we really want to kind of have a company on the long run where we enjoy working and we have a great time, and we don't think that raising funds will really help in this regards.
Right. Okay. No, that's totally understandable. Most of my guests are in a position where they have to raise capital in order to grow their businesses. They just, whether it's hiring people or whether it's for marketing, or I mean, there's a million different reasons why people raise capital. But I mean, it's good that you guys aren't in that pinch yet. You can build the company on your own. What have been? Oh, no, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, it's really something that is super conscious for us. We always try to make sure that we can stay fully bootstrapped and we can stay profitable. And also, by not raising capital, it really forces us to make sure that we are building something that will work on the long run, where we are profitable, where we really enjoy working there, and so it kind of forces you to focus on the right thing, I believe. So that's why we really want to do this, and up until now, it has really worked well.
What have been the biggest challenges for you guys since you started this company 2 years ago?
Well, so actually we started the company 4 years ago, and actually that's where the biggest challenges were, because since we launched Hunter, everything has been going great, but obviously it took us a lot of time to find exactly what we needed to build and what would really work on the market. And that's what has actually been the biggest challenge, is building products, quickly gathering feedback, and being able to change the service to find something that match. And all those iterations that have been really difficult to do, because it's not easy to launch something and then accept that it isn't really working and to do something else. That has really been the biggest challenge for us.
Right. Okay. No, that makes sense. What are some of your goals moving forward? I mean, how, in terms of growth goals, like what do you look at for metrics or number of users or revenue? What are some of your favorite numbers to look at?
Well, so that's also something that is heavily linked to being bootstrapped. Since we don't have any investors, nobody is really asking to get their money back. So we don't have really to be growing to be okay. Right now we're profitable. We can pay the team well, and we can keep working on the challenges that are interesting to us. So everything is good, and really, so growth is interesting for us, but it's not really something that we really look forward to. What we have in mind every day is that there are a few challenges that we want to tackle. The way we only work by extracting data of the web, and we want to make this more powerful. We want to create other ways of finding people and companies online and offer those ways to our users. So that's where we really want to focus. We really want to build a company that will be still there in a few years. And if growth is part of this, then it's great. If we keep the user base and keep the monthly recurring revenue stable, then it's also perfectly fine.
How long do you think it's going to take you guys until you're cash flow positive? I mean, do you even think about stuff like that?
Actually, we've been cash flow positive since the start. So
cool.
A few weeks, maybe 2 weeks after launching Hunter.io, we were cash flow positive. So that's why it's not important for us to raise any capital. We are not really in need.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because I can see that this is one of those businesses where you really couldn't justify paying a lot of money to acquire users, right?
Well, in a freemium, obviously that's completely right. And even if we didn't add the free plan, the pricing starts at $50 a month. That's completely it's completely very difficult to do any paid advertising or even to do any sales with such low bar. But that's also something that we completely accept. And actually, we kind of see this as an advantage. We kind of it forces us to have something that is fully automated. And this way, we don't have really to focus on one single user. We make the experience better for everyone. And then we know that there's going to be a few percent of users that end up converting to the paid plans.
So, how important are potential partnerships with some of these big social networking platforms going to be? Like, for instance, will there be a day where I can go into Twitter and scroll through my feed and see a little hunter icon underneath any of my Twitter connections and be able to get an email address on that person and shoot them off an email, whether it's someone in media or someone that I may want to try to recruit to my company? Will that ever happen?
Well, it's hard to tell, but I would be pretty pessimistic, to be honest. The reason is that those platforms, they have an amazing data source, and quite understandably, they don't really want to share this with other companies,
Right.
especially companies that are as small as us. So that's why it won't really happen. But the good side of things is that I don't think it's really necessary to always gather your data from LinkedIn or Twitter
Sure.
or any other type of or any other big social network. There's tons of data online, and something that we always have in mind is that if you were to ask an intern to go online and build a database of a specific type of company, he would be able to build something amazing just because he's a human and he's really great at extracting data of text online. And so we want to build the tools and the software that is able to do that. And I believe that if we are successful, the data that we get off of the website is going to be so much better than what you can currently get on Twitter or even LinkedIn.
So, any recommendations to founders out there listening to this podcast that may want to try to build a technology company or SaaS company, whatever you guys refer yourselves as, but do it in a cash flow positive way, right? What did you guys do right from the beginning? Now, I assume that you and your co-founder are both technical people, right? So you guys built the service yourselves.
Actually, no. So we both did a business school, and it took us maybe 2 years to hire someone that was technical. So it's not really an issue, I believe. It's just that you need to work that much harder at first to make it work. But I really like the fact that you mentioned that you kind of mentioned that working to have a cash flow positive company is maybe something that everyone wouldn't be doing. That's kind of I always find this a bit weird, obviously, because if you are building a company, it's obviously to generate cash, and if you're not cash flow positive, then there's something going wrong. And so that's why, if to the audience listening, I would say that there is kind of a bias currently, because obviously you mostly hear about companies that raise cash and that are building huge services and that aren't cash flow positive while doing this, but for most companies, this isn't really possible. And I've kind of believed that it's really, if you put your mind at it, and it's really possible to build a company that is very quickly cash flow positive. You just need to make the right decisions. And when you do, it makes things a lot easier because you have so less stress. It's easier to take the right decision. You don't hire too much because you don't have the cash, or you hire just the right amount of people, etc. So everything is so much easier when you're not losing cash every month.
So I'm not very familiar with Paris as a startup scene. Maybe you can tell us, talk to us for a couple minutes about what's going on in Paris in terms of, the technology sector, startups, entrepreneurs, any of that good stuff. What's happening over there?
Well, so I'm French, but I actually never lived in Paris, and I'm actually right now living in Germany, in Berlin. So I'm not an expert in what's happening in Paris, even though I go there every few months. But it's very true that I'm guessing the tech scene in Europe, and especially in Paris, has been lagging behind compared to what you could see in the Silicon Valley, especially in terms of investment. And that's also why it's especially important if you're over there to try to build a company that is quickly going to be profitable. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot harder to raise cash. And so that's the main difference. But I can't really go into the details. To be honest, that's not something I know very well.
Okay. I mean, do you have plans to, relocate to the United States, or are you very happy running this business out of Paris or out of France?
Well, so we are a fully remote company, so we don't have any office. So
Okay.
so we can't really relocate anywhere. For now, we are mostly in Europe. That's just one my co-founder that is in Asia. And for now, we are mostly doing this because it's easier for communication. But maybe on the long run, we'll try to hire people or two in the US, especially for support. It's a lot easier.
Right. What else can you tell us about your journey over the last 3 or 4 years that nobody else really knows or no one's asked you about before? Any good stories you can share with us?
That nobody that I haven't shared yet. That's a tough question.
What's been your favorite day and your least favorite day?
Well, the favorite day I would say was when we actually shared the service for the first time to other people. And so we had quickly built Hunter, which at the time was named Email Hunter. We decided to share it on a small French group of people in marketing, and it really instantly took off. And that's when we really knew after 2 years that we finally had found something that would have a lot of traction compared to all of the other ideas we had before. So that was kind of an amazing day, and it really instantly we knew what product market fit was. we had understood it before, but this time we really knew what it was.
Do you guys do any sort of a beta? Use the service. Once the service is ready to go, have a small group of friends test it out before you actually went live with it.
Well, that was kind of the idea, but since someone posted it on Product Hunt and the next day we were on Product Hunt, we didn't really have the time. And that was kind of an issue, to be honest, because there was huge bugs in the service, causing lots of data to be actually completely bad. But that's kind of, I'm guessing that's kind of the game, and I can't complain that people decided to share it on Product Hunt. It's obviously a lot better than if you decided not to.
So you guys got onto Product Hunt without even really trying.
Yeah, exactly. That was obviously a part of luck, because depending on when you go on Product Hunt and at which time it changes a lot. But yeah, in this case, it was really the perfect time for us, and it really got us a huge increase in traffic at first. That was really the best thing for our company that had happened maybe in 9 years.
Remember how many upvotes you got?
At first, I would say about 1,000, and now they just keep increasing every now and then.
You probably got a ton of traffic to the website then from that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. But since at first nobody knew about the website, everything was coming from Product Hunt. And since we decided to have the freemium from day one, that's really what got the service started.
Right. Do you have any mentors or advisors?
We don't have any mentors, although we obviously know a few people that also have their companies, and when we can, we try to kind of get around and share ideas and feedbacks about this.
Are you guys currently doing any hiring for the company?
So we're 5, but we're not doing any hiring, mostly because. So that's also something that we kind of noticed, that it's super obvious, but people are extremely difficult to manage, and it's hard to kind of keep the to hire and still keep the mindset in the company that you wanted. And that's why we try to remain a small team and only keep those 5 people. We are mostly going to be hiring in the future if the growth continue. But hiring is not a priority at all for us.
Okay. Nothing wrong with keeping the team lean, and you guys are making money. That's kind of the dream come true for a lot of entrepreneurs. They're not necessarily trying to grow a $5 billion company with 2,000 employees. I mean, sometimes the dream is just to build a sustainable, profitable company and have fun doing it, and work remotely. That's another nice perk.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that we always have in mind, is that when you're creating a company, it's very difficult at first because obviously you need to make it work. You need to be able to pay everyone. But one of the advantages that you get is that you really get to design your company. If you want to work remotely, you can. If you want to stay in a small company that is working as you want it to, then you can also do that. And that's what we really want to make happen. And something that I see a lot in Germany is that there are lots of medium businesses that are kind of family business that don't really want to expand. They just want to be doing their thing and be happy doing it. And that's what I really want us to be trying to do.
I guess just the last couple questions here. What would you say is the end game for you guys? I mean, have you thought about where this company might be in 3 to 5 years, where you want it to be? Would you like to try to run this company independently forever, or be acquired by a larger company? I mean, what's the goal? What's the dream?
Well, right now we have some very interesting challenges that we're working on, and we're having so much fun doing so. At the same time, we're able to pay ourselves, to work within a great team. And so if we can keep doing this for 3, 5 and more years, then it's perfectly okay for us. So there's no really end game. I love doing what I do, and if I can continue doing so for 4 years, then it will be perfect.
Awesome. And I guess the last question here, we've kind of talked about this. I just want to kind of sum it up again. If you have, given your service, with the freemium model and, wanting to stay cash flow positive, it makes it hard to spend money to acquire users. So with that in mind, do you have any favorite growth hacking tip that's worked for you guys?
So just give me a sec so that I can think about what we did. Well, it's not really a tip because it requires lots of work to make it happen. But something that has really been super efficient on our end is to make the service very easy to use and make it possible for users to use it without any help from us. And this makes it so much better because this way you don't really, so it's specific to our case, obviously, but we don't need any sales team. We don't need any onboarding. We don't need to spend time for every user. And this way it's a lot easier to scale, and you can really spend all your resources on the product and improving the experience for everyone at the same time. And this is really great because this way it's not, you're not really afraid of onboarding more people. You're not afraid of having more free users that will take your time, and you can just grow and know that a few percentage of these users will convert. That's really the main thing we're doing, and that's where most of our growth comes from.
Awesome. No, that's helpful. Thank you very much for sharing that. Appreciate it. Well, that's pretty much all I got for you, man. Really thank you for taking the time to chat with us today. Now, it is 10 o'clock in the morning here. You're in France. What time is it there?
It's almost 5 p.m. on Friday. So to be honest, okay. I won't be around for too long.
Your day is wrapping up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time and all your great advice and insight into the company. Like I said in the intro, the website is hunter.io. How do we connect with you personally? Do you use any social media?
I'm a bit on Twitter, not too much, and my handle is Antoine Fink. So if you search on Google, it should work.
Okay, cool. Well, super, dude. Wish you the best of luck. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the service. That's one of the reasons I want to bring you on, because I certainly endorse it for my own activities. And anyone out there that's in sales, certainly hunter.io can help you out here. So, well, thanks, Antoine. Wish you the best of luck, and look forward to staying in touch with you.
Okay, thank you, Jonah. Thank you for having me. Have a great day.
You're very welcome. Talk to you soon, buddy. Later.
Bye.